Hello everyone and welcome to this Microsoft Excel video. And today I'll show you some advanced pivot table tricks in Microsoft Excel that I learned throughout my career. Today we're going to go through some advanced tricks that I came up a bit later in my life, like when I was doing work in a company after like 1 year. I discovered these tricks and I hope they will be of benefit to you. So the first thing that I will teach you is how to adjust your field list settings. So before we do that, first let's change our table over here into a real table by going to insert, and we can just select the pivot table over here. After that, we'll just press OK, and now you can see that it has taken me to a new directory or new page. So let's shift it that side. And okay, all right. So now let's click on the table over here, then go to insert and click on pivot table. After that, you can see it gives us a pop-up menu where it's asking us for our table or range, where I have already named it as a table of sales, and we want to put it in a new existing worksheet. And then we'll click on OK. Now this is our default view of our pivot table because we haven't added any pivot table fields into our row, columns, or values over here. So now let me change the view of our pivot table fields over here. Let me put it as this field section and area side by side, which makes it easier for me to put in the specific fields that I want in our rows, columns, values, or filters. We can also sort our fields over here. We can either sort them from A to Z, or we can also sort them from our data source order, as you can see. This is very helpful, especially if you have a lot of fields. All right, so let us move on to tip number 2. Now let's go ahead with tip number 2, which is we can create multiple reports with one click. All right. So here I want to create the sale product resource for each single customer. So I can do that with one click. So let's set up the first report where we'll put the product description in rows and the sum of sales in values. So in values, all right. And I'm going to add the customer names to my filters. Okay. All right. Now let's update our table over here. First, I want to right click and go to number format. And I want to change the number to use a 1000 separator, and I want to put it in 0 and press OK. I also want to sort it from descending to ascending. So I'll press this. Now you can see that we have the highest number of sales to the lowest number of sales in our table. And I also want to put in a dollar symbol, so I'll go over here and press OK. There you go. Now comes the part with one click. Because I want to create different reports for each customer, since I have 4 of these customers, instead of doing this manually, I'm going to go to options over here, then show report filter pages. After that, it brings up anything that's in the filter. Let's click on OK, and now it can give us multiple reports on each customer. One is for Delicia, Irma, Liber, and Ada. So each of these are different sheets for customer dropdown. Alright, now that we're done with the second tip, let's go on with the third tip, which is to double click to view the details. Okay? Now, in case you're wondering what makes up a specific number in the pivot table, all you have to do is double click on it and you're going to go to the details. So let's say I double click on Delicia over here, and now you can see that it sends me back to this table where it only shows me values for the sum of sales of our customer named Delicia. And now if I switch back to our pivot table over here, that is our number for the sums as you can see over here, only for Delicia. Alright, so the next tip that we're going to talk about is number 4, which is adding data bars to our pivot tables. Now here you can see that I have different products and the sum of sales. Alright, now let's say I want to show the sum of sales into data bars. So for that, we'll just go back to home and then go to conditional formatting, then select data bars. And then data bars. After that, we will select more rules. Okay. Now here, this is what will apply to the rest of the values and will save you a lot of time. So instead of selecting selected cells, we will select all cells showing sum of sales USD values and click on that, which is going to make it more dynamic, all based on the size of your pivot table. Format style is data bar, and you want to only show the bar, and after that we are done. So let's click on OK. We can also change the color to a different type. Let's say I want to select this light blue. Let's press OK, and now you can see that our grand total is also included in this data bar, and all of our sum of sales over here are also calculated in a data bar set. All right, now here's something you have to be careful of. When I right mouse click on this and click on refresh, you can see that the data bar adjusts itself to a specific size that it was before, but we can also delete this and press enter, but it says I cannot enter null value, so I'll just press a space and press enter. Now you can see that it's okay with it. Now if I click on refresh, you can see that the data set collapses itself, which does not look good. Now in order to prevent this, we will just go back to the table over here and click on this, then go to pivot table analyze, then we'll go to pivot table options, and then we'll uncheck autofill column width on update. Press OK. Now we'll go back and expand it, and then if I press refresh, now you can see that it doesn't collapse. Now in case you want to see the sales value in a separate column, we can just again provide it on our values over here, and now you can see that it shows us the data over here. Now let's change it to over here. Now there you go, we're done. Telegram, dude. Where the hell is calculations? I made a big mistake. Fuck. Ah! What the hell did you do, you motherfucking bitch? Pause হইছে. Oh shit, it's দাদা আমি ভুল করছি, আমার একটু সমস্যা হয়েছে, I need to redo this, so আমি আবার তোমার calculate the difference between columns থেকে start করতেছি, ঠিক আছে দাদা? Thank you. Now in this case my source data has only information about June and July, as you can see over here, June and July. Okay, so now I want to calculate the difference of sales percentage from both June and July. So how do we do that? Now in order to do that, first we'll add our document date to our columns. Now as you can see, after I add document date, it automatically adds the months for me. So now I do not want the document date, because if I press on the plus option over here, you can see that it shows me a spaghetti of disaster. So I just want to not do that and remove the document date and let the months only be there. So now after this, what we're going to do is basically go over here and then we'll select the sales USD and put it in the values for a second time. After that, we'll go to the second instance of our July month, and then we'll right click on it, and then after that we'll show values as. We're going to right click and then we'll select show values as, then we'll select the difference from. Okay, and now you can notice that we also have a different percentage form, but we'll select the first one. Now over here, it is very important to pick the right base field. Okay, now it says product description, which is right here. That is not what I want. I want to just I just want to compare my values of July and June. Okay, so for that, I'm going to change that selection to months. So I'll click on this drop down menu for the base field and select months. Okay, Then the base item should be previous. Now this does not mean the previous month, it means the previous column. In this example, it happens to be the previous month as well. So that's fine. After that, we'll click on OK. All right. Now that we are done with that, all that we need to do right now, all I need to do is update my titles over here. So what we will do right now is basically change the title to difference. So I'll type difference. Okay, and hit enter. All right, I can just go over here and delete this and put a space so that it does not show anything. But as you can see, when I change this, the value over here changes too. So let's not do that. And there you go. Now you can see the difference between the sum of sales of July and June very easily. All right, now that we're done with this, let's go on with the next tip, which is to tip number 7, smart custom number formatting. An alternative to conditional formatting in pivot tables. Alright, so that is all for this video. I hope you've understood all these tips and trips that I've gathered for you today. And thank you for watching this video. And I'll see you in the next video.